All right, welcome into the BFR podcast presented by sportsmockery.com. You can check out all Chicago sports news over there. Again, Bears win. This is we're not used to this. It's a weird win. We'll get into that here in a moment. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for sportsmockery.com. You can check out all my articles, all my work over there. You can follow me on Twitter at Dave_BFR. And I'm joined by my co-host, good friend Ficky. Follow him on all socials, TikTok, everything. It's Ficky, baby. Man, it's a weird one, but how are you feeling, Ficky?
Man, I don't know.
I don't even know where to start.
Like I tried not to be negative with a win because we didn't get them that often. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to just be that like downer, right? At the party. That's no one wants to talk to. But oh my God, 4 turnovers and we scored 12 points. Like it's
0 touchdowns.
You know what the biggest thing was that really upset me? There were 2 particular drives where we had not back to back, but back to back to back screens. 2 drives, 2 separate drives where you literally called the same play or the same type of play, right? 3 times in a row. And it didn't work. And we saw the last drive of the game, not the one where Fields delivered the dot, which we'll get to, but the one prior where it looked like, Fields fumbled and it seemed like the game was over. He was in that 3rd and long because on 2nd down, we threw another wide receiver screen to Darnell Mooney, which wasn't his fault, Darnell Mooney, and he gets tackled for like a 4-yard loss. I'm like, bro, you think this deep? If I know it's coming, if I know the fucking screen's coming, you think these professional athletes and the defensive coordinator doesn't know it's coming? Just mind-boggling. So
Brian Flores is one of the brighter minds too on the defensive side, and he's over there cooking up blitz after blitz after blitz, and overall just a very good game plan by the Vikings. However, the Bears knew this going in; they already played them once. So the fact that they were not prepared, at least it didn't seem, they were ready for screens. I mean, Luke Getsy, he cooked up so many screens. I was trying to keep track. I think he was 14. At 15.
Yeah, 14 or 15.
14. I had 15, so I don't know.
15. No, that Darnell Mooney one's 15. It was 14 most of the game, and then he threw that one on the second to last drive.
It's wild. It's wild that it was at 15. But again, we have a couple people, in the chat talking about, Justin Fields and how, they want to keep him and everything like that. So I want to start with Justin. Overall, his game.
Okay.
I could pull up his stats, but I just want to know kind of how are you feeling with him? Did he check the boxes? The question we've been talking about is he had 7 games left once he returns from injury. The Lions game, both agreed he checked that box pretty, we were pretty confident on the same board.
Yeah.
Even DWC had the same thing. This game, everything you take into account, game-winning drive, the fumbles, everything. How do you feel, man? Did he check the box for this?
He won the game. He won the game at the end of the day, right? The biggest thing too, it wasn't like his turnovers were fumbles, him trying to run down the field. Okay. They weren't sack fumbles. They were trying to get yards and he fumbled the ball. Like it was a net positive play and he fumbled. Should he be fumbling? No. All right. But I get why he fumbled. One of them, he's trying to get the first down because it's 4th down. So he's really trying to truck his way through. Not the best protection. Gets tackled right on his hands. So the fumbles do suck. I'm not taking those away. I'm not saying, oh, wow, we're not going to count those. We count those. But when it mattered the most, this fan base has complained about Fields not being able to deliver in the 4th quarter, right? We've talked about it. We need to see him march down and win the game. He did it. So for me, was it a perfect check? You know what I mean? Like, do I look at it and go, wow, that's like, how he played against the Lions. We feel super confident. No, but do I look at it and go, wow, was that a bad game? No, I don't think it was a bad game. It's just like, it was an game. You know what I mean? So how I said in the beginning was, you can't have any bad games. You need like 5 of them out of the 7 where you're like, wow, that's our guy, right? And obviously not going to be perfect in all those, but like, you see a lot of the growth and what you want from Fields, right? This is one of them where it's like, So you get 2 of those. Okay. And if you win and you have the it's more of like a checkbox because at the end of the day, we're trying to win games, right? So you played well enough or you didn't play bad enough for us to lose, right? And I know that doesn't always fall on the quarterback, but how we're looking at Fields, I go, fumbles, yes, sucked, but you weren't throwing bad passes. turnovers, stupid plays, right? The fumbles is just like, you're trying to get extra yards and you get smashed by a linebacker. And I think it was Hunter that got you from behind. So
yeah,
it's where I'm at now when I watch these games is like, once I saw Fields, like he started 12 for 12, 100 and something yards, like a great start. You know what I mean? And we still weren't scoring. So then I go, okay, how is our quarterback doing as well as he can, and we're still not putting points on the board? He went 14 for 16, right? For like 130 or something like that, right? And I'm like, okay, he had like one bad pass to that point. I think at like 14 and 17, the one where on third down to Darnell Mooney and he got cracked, right? That was like his first, like, where you're like, ooh, that you should have delivered that. But to that point, like the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second, he looked good and we didn't have enough points. So I then go, okay, if our quarterback seems to be doing what he's supposed to be doing within the confines of the plays, what else is there to blame? And it goes to this coaching staff, right? And so we look, you could bring up the pass chart. Well, you don't even need to bring up the pass chart. Anyone could watch this fucking game and saw that Fields was not passing the ball down the field. And I don't know if Getsy knows this, but here's a little insider tip. Fields' best quality or his best skill is the deep ball. No, I get like you do want to do quick passes against someone, the heavy blitz team in Brian Flores, but shouldn't there be like maybe different types of like quick passes, right? And I'm not an offensive coordinator, but I can tell you, even when I play Madden, I don't go in and do the same play over and over. Why? Because someone's going to be like, yo, guess what's coming? Like, it's a screen. So it's interesting that when we did things that weren't screens, like it seemed to work. And then when we did screens, it didn't. Out of the 15 screens, there were 2 that went for positive yards, right? Or like not positive, but like decent yards, right? So I don't know. I'm just like, it's hard to watch this game and grade Fields because I'm just like so vividly upset with how Luke Getsy calls this game. It's so bad. It's so hard to watch. Now, on the other side, though, right? Well, there's 2 parts to this. Flus, as a defensive coordinator, has looked great. I know it was Josh Dodds, but we've talked about this even before this game. Ever since he took over, the defense has looked better and better. Are they a top 5 defense, top 10, top 15? No, but they're getting the turnovers. They're playing a little bit smarter, right? We still have a lot of penalties, which we'll get to my next point. But as a defensive coordinator, I can't blame the defense. They did their thing, and they got that stop at the very end, where they ended up having to punt and knocked them out of field goal range. So that's great. But as a head coach, there was so much sus like decisions that Flus did where I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Going for it on 4th and long, right? I wouldn't do that, but you did it and you got it. So I'm not mad about that. But then literally the next 4th and 3, you kick a field goal and you're closer. So I'm like, what's the difference? I know that was
there's not a lot of consistency.
Correct. I know that was Cairo's like longest, like, so I understand, like, you probably didn't want to put your kicker in that position, but that was interesting. Using the challenge, I wouldn't have done that either. I wouldn't have, because you need, in that type of game, you need all your timeouts. It wasn't worth it, in my opinion. And then also accepting that 5-yard penalty on the punt. I know this may be nitpicking, but like accepting that 5-yard penalty on the punt when the clock was already stopped. Like, they obviously want to delay a game on purpose to give their punter more yardage so that they can pin it. So I don't know. There's a lot of fluky stuff where I'm just like, as a head coach, I do not feel confident in Flus, but as a defensive coordinator, I love what he's done. Luke Getsy, there's absolutely nothing I love that he's done. He needs to get the fuck out of here because his play calling has been ridiculous. Look at that. That's left to right, bro. There's nothing vertical. You take away that 136-yard pass at the end of the game, there's nothing more than 10 yards. Was that 12 yards is your deepest pass?
Yeah, so this is the issue, and I think what the biggest topic for me of discussion has to be with Justin Fields and his pressure this week. And I think Jacob Aponte kind of highlighted it very well during the game. I think it was the middle of like the second quarter, and it was about Justin Fields. What he said this week was one of his strengths was the deep ball, and it was in reference to the Tyler Scott, where they couldn't connect on that 3rd and 9 against the Lions. Yes, we talked about it to death. But at the end of the day, he was like, hey, that is what I feel most confident in. I feel like it's my best attribute, maybe outside of his legs. Those were his words, right? And this is what you cook up. And I understand the Vikings are very blitz heavy, but first of all, they started off the game great. I actually enjoyed the quick passing. The screens early on, I think, worked and kept the Vikings kind of on their toes, but they did it I thought they would maybe change it up, take a couple deep shots, maybe fake a screen, go deep to Mooney, hell, even Tyler Scott, DJ Moore, of course. And the fact that they never went away from it, you see it here. You take away that one deep shot, and maybe I think there was this one to the left here was that Mooney? A miss?
Yes, I think so. That was that deep crosser to the left. Yeah, that was Mooney.
Yeah.
He got correct.
Yeah. So either way, it's like, look, I can't even tell you how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 throws behind the line of scrimmage. And for our Apple Spotify listeners, what we have here is the next gen passing chart for Justin Fields. And there are 17 green dots, 17 green and white dots. White being incomplete, which is 2. I think those were batted down.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you how aggressive and that Brian Flores and the Vikings defense, their players, they were just jumping these things, man. We're lucky none of them were taken to the house. Like, I think there's 2 that
tipped up in the air for like a pick. Yeah. I thought that was going to happen.
I felt bad.
One of them Fields had one of them. I know, right? One of them Fields had the pump fake. The guy jumped up in the air and then he delivered it off. So, yeah, but it's like, bro, why are we having to
your quarterback should not be in that scenario where he's having to jump or pump fake within like a half a second of snapping the ball. Like, it was very quick, but I like that Fields. That shows his playmaking ability there. But yeah, this is his passing chart. It's brutal. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So take with that.
You passed it 37 times and no touchdowns. At halftime, his average depth per throw was 0.3 yards. Average depth of throw. This is the most screens that he's ever thrown in a game, ever in his life. Ever. So my thing is like this, right? If you're trying to evaluate your quarterback, if you're trying to figure out if Justin Fields is the guy of the future, and you're trying to figure out, do we need to move on from Fields and draft Caleb Williams and Drake May, or do we need to stick with Fields? Don't you think you'd want to, test out his skill sets downfield, right? Because even if you draft Caleb and Drake May, what are you going to use their best of their abilities for screens the whole time? I know the coaching staff won't be here, but my point is, if you're trying to evaluate a quarterback, wouldn't you want to see, intermediate throws, deep throws, short throws? And I know you're just going to the game plan, right? It's not like, oh, we got to throw a deep pass in here, but there's no way you went into this thinking, let's use Fields' best ability and then just decide to call up there was 15 screens completed, but it was like 18 screens called. 18 screens called. There was 37 passes, Dave. If you do the math, that's 50%. 50% of your play calls were a screen. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I don't know if I'll ever see that again, bro. That makes no sense. And I'm just like dumbfounded because I'm like, how is an NFL offensive coordinator, someone who gets paid millions, comes up with this as the game plan? In any sport, if you do something over and over and over again, even if you're successful at it, the other team is going to expect that thing is coming, right? Whether they stop it or not, that's different, right? But Curry, if we would make an analogy to basketball, Curry's going to shoot the 3. Why do you know that? Because he does it over and over and over again. The difference is that he's good at it. We did the screens over and over and over again, and it's like Curry missing every shot. And then you're like, this isn't working. Maybe we should try something different, but we decided not to. I just got so pissed off by that. We literally on the last drive, when you're trying to move the ball down the field to win the game on your first attempt, you throw another screen in there. And what happens? -3 yards. I just can't believe it. This coaching stuff's so bad.
It is. And I don't want to talk too much more on the coaching staff because, we do it every damn pod, it feels like, and yes, the Bears won this game, but it was despite the coaching staff. It's similar to did you win because of your quarterback, or did you, that type of, lingo when it comes to the question of the quarterback. It's just more so with this coaching staff. Are you winning because of the coaching staff, or, are you just kind of winning despite? And for me, it's an easy answer there. Now, Matt Eberflus, give him, hats off to him. I thought he played a very good game on the defensive side. I think he's incredible. They have 8 interceptions or
Yeah.
7 or 8 interceptions in the last 2 games. And that
Balling
just
out.
goes to show you that, they're kind of pressing a little bit more. And I know they still play that soft cover too, but it's just working. And the defensive line I thought was very impressive. And we'll get to
Oh,
that.
oh yeah.
Get to that later. But I want to go over Justin Fields' stat line because I didn't bring it up. He was 27 to 37. You mentioned it, throwing it 37 times. He had 217 total yards passing. He had 12 carries for 59 yards. He had 2 fumbles, of course, 2 big ones in the fourth quarter, and then he had 3 sacks for with an 87.3 passer rating. So overall, just like a very bland game. But at the end of the day, he did get the game-winning drive, and you can't even. It's hard to grade this. You almost have to do it on a curve because of Luke Getsy and the play calling. It was almost irresponsible, in my opinion, on how he went out there and really kind of just let his quarterback out to dry there. Like Fields, those fumbles. I think there was a comment earlier. I feel like those were him trying to do too much, and that's obviously going to be. It's exactly he had to. That one, I think the first fumble, that's tough. You gotta be aware there. The second one, I liked what he did. He took off. I mean, the Vikings were playing the screen once again, and I know they're not playing the screen; they're just playing up close, like they were expecting a screen, even though there was one before. You just never know with the Bears, obviously, and so everything was covered. But he made the right decision. He took off, used his acceleration, which is still world class, and he just got hit hard. It was a weird angle too. I think the helmet may have hit the ball.
Yeah, you got no. Yeah, that one is like it's just bad timing. It's just tough. PTSD. But that one I'm not too worried about. Now the one where he ran and the guy got tackled him from behind.
35. That's 35 career fumbles for Fields, and that's 7 on the season for this year.
That's his. He's been much better with.
It's like Jay Cutler in interceptions. That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, but I'd rather have I know fumbles suck just as much, but like fumbles are less like decision making, right? In my essence, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Like it's more.
It's where the playmaking from him comes to bite him in the ass because it's like he holds onto that ball.
But we're not seeing interceptions, which is nice, right? We didn't see any touchdowns tonight, but like he's not throwing. There were no passes tonight. Of course, none of them were downfield from like, oh, that's going to get picked. But there wasn't a pass tonight where I was like, oh wow, that we're lucky that didn't get picked off. Like
I see that like comment right there.
Yeah, which one?
You bring it back up. It was like hire a new coach, but keep Flus as a DC. I just don't. I love that. If that could happen, if that was possible, oh my god.
Yeah,
I would be on board. I honestly would be on board with that because I think he's a great defensive coordinator. It's just like, the likelihood of him.
I don't think it's ever happened that's never happened
the demotion. No, I don't even know if it. Yeah, it'd just be weird too. You have to start over, but I think that would be if that was possible in any way. I think that would be awesome because then you could have the head coaching experience, which is not great. I mean, I know the record, but still, he has that experience where he can help out maybe like a Ben Johnson who has 0 head coaching experience in the NFL, or you pair him with Harbaugh, which I don't think that would probably that's a terrible idea. I don't think Harbaugh would even be on board with that. But either way, I think Flus, that just goes to highlight how good of a DC he is in this league. So he has a place here. Will he get another chance at head coaching gig? I don't know. And hell, I don't know. Maybe he might. I don't know if he's not sticking around, right? This defense. But what if you fire? But what if they use him as a? What if they use Luke Getsy as a scapegoat?
As a scapegoat. You bring in. Getsy's got to go, but
his fall from grace, Luke Getsy is. I think it's incredible because last year we were worried about him getting a head coaching job.
Right, that's not happening. So there is a possibility where Flus stays and Getsy's gone, but there's no possibility where Getsy stays. Like Flus somehow, like if we go on a streak. I still don't think Getsy stays. I don't know. I could be. Who knows? It's the NFL, but I just feel like in my gut, there's no way, right? Like get someone in here who knows how to move the ball downfield. Like honestly, though, it's crazy. Fields may have saved himself, right? Some more time, but he 100% saved both these coaches. I honestly feel like if they'd have lost this game because it was in such bad fashion, right? I think they would not. I honestly, based off how many firings have been going off in the NFL, like I've never seen this many. And then Adam Schefter talked about how there's going to be like, he expects like 7 to 10 more head coach firings, which is crazy on the Pat McAfee show. I think they're gone. I think Kevin Warren steps in and goes, yeah, nah, you're gone. Okay, I actually want to read this real quick because Dagun with the Bears News says Justin Fields can't read the blitz. He's actually been pretty decent against the blitz this year, so I don't think that would make sense. Plus, he literally faced tons of blitzes today and won the game. Now, I'm not saying he was perfect, but can't read the blitz. I don't know about that. I wouldn't go with that. Oh, and also big news: DJ Moore did cross 1,000 yards, so that trade worth every penny. And then based off Frank Wright getting fired as well and the Panthers just being a shit show, that trade seems like godsend at this point. Like King Pole's cooking. So just thought I'd mention that.
So I want to bring up this. So you said DJ Moore. That was our kind of moving on to the next topic of discussion, which I thought he played relatively well once again. It's so weird because the offense is just, he's a deep ball receiver. Like he can go down. You saw him in Carolina, right? When he was playing there, you saw so many deep throws to him where he connected, where it's like, oh my gosh, like we're getting this type of player. And now and we all know he can, get yards after the catch. That's one of his strengths. But it's like, man, I feel like did they even attempt a deep shot outside of maybe, I don't know if you consider that one at the end of the game, a deep shot. It was just across the middle. They ran it since.
That was the longest play of the game.
But it's not it wasn't like a deep, it wasn't like a 50-yard pass.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a one-play touchdown type of play, right? It was a great play, but it was not a deep shot. And no deep shots.
11 receptions, 114 yards, 10.4 per catch. And yeah, that put him over 1,000 yards in the season. So Tyreek Hill is at 1,324. Keenan Allen, 1,117. CeeDee Lamb, 1,060. A.J. Brown, 1,050. DJ Moore, who's in that 5th spot in the NFL right now, is at 1,003. That's incredible. Despite everything, despite Justin Fields not being there for 4 games, 5 games, however long it was. I mean, that is awesome. A great achievement. It goes to show you that the Bears, honestly, looking at that trade with Carolina and how they're kind of trending, one win. I know they fired their coaching staff, so, they might get a boost there. But
yeah, they might get 1 or 2.
Man, top 5 wide receiver right now in regards to yards. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. No, DJ Moore's been everything. Actually, this is another game, not just DJ Moore, but if we look at Ryan Poles and the guys he's brought in, Terrell Smith played a hell of a game.
What a game.
Pick. Javon Dexter, great game as well. Another great pick. Now, I don't know about like Darnell Wright and things like that because offensive line, it's hard to tell, during the game.
Yeah, penalty, but other than that, didn't hear much.
TJ Edwards, again, I think the MVP of the defense, another Flus guy. Tremaine Edmonds looked good this game.
He looked another. I want to say he didn't get an interception today, Tremaine Edmonds, but I thought this was one of his better games as far as maybe run and TFLs.
Yeah, so like you look at like some of these rookies. Kyler Gordon had an interception. Brisker had an interception, right? And I know it's not against like the best offense. They're missing JJ. They're missing obviously Kirk Cousins. But you look around at some of the players that Poles has either brought in free agency or that he's drafted in the past 2 years, and they're starting to show up. We've seen it consistently for a lot of these guys, like the past, 4 or 5 weeks. So like I know I said this last time on the pregame, but I'm feeling more and more confident in like what Poles can do. So no matter what is happening and no matter what our pick is next year, like I feel like at least a little bit more sound in the decisions that are being coming from the front office on what we're going to do with that. So if it's sticking with Fields, I'm going to feel confident that's the right decision. If it's not, I'm also going to feel confident that that was the right decision based off the evaluations. Because so far, like, of course, Poles has misses, and we've talked about that. All GMs have misses. There's no perfect GM. But overall, you see more positives with his decisions that he's brought in with the people he's drafted and the players he's brought in than misses. And so, like, that's actually something I'm most excited about. And I don't know. I don't know what you feel like, but I feel like Poles, you saw how upset he was in the booth, and it looked like he said at one point, like, they're running the same thing over and over again, right?
Yeah.
It makes me think I think I have no insider information, but I feel that Poles is on Team Fields and might be out on coaching staff. That's
Okay.
my process.
So
But
I had seen that. I know what you're referring to, where he kind of gave that little finger twirl, and I
it was
don't
right
know if
after
he
we
was
threw his.
talking a screen.
No, sorry. Well, no, it was
Yeah.
right after. It was right after they showed after we ran 2 screens, I think. So that's, I mean, there's assumptions being made. You have no, I didn't read
Yeah,
his
for
lips,
me,
but
I don't know if he was like maybe hurried up. Let's get it going. It is up for interpretation, but at the end of the day, it's not great, And
no, he was definitely
for
upset.
me,
There's no question about
For
that.
me, I was this was about middle of the game. No, this is late in the third quarter. 9:41 p.m. is when I tweeted this, and I said, "I'm curious. Do you want the Bears to win this game?" And there's still votes going on, but I don't know why I put 22 hours left on there. But 2,473 votes right now. So I put yes or no. Yes is at 48.4% that they wanted them to win the game, and then 51.6% did not want them to win the game. This kind of goes into that. I just wanted to kind of throw a poll out there, see how the fan base kind of felt in regards to draft capital. I know we talk about it. Draft, I
Important.
know the Panthers are, doing us a favor, but the Bears could still end up with a top 5 pick. So it's like, I wanted to kind of see how everyone was feeling in the middle of this game. And so the fact that 51.6%, the fan base is split, man. And I know this is only 2,500 votes so far, but it's pretty damn.
Well, yeah, because it was another game where it wasn't an automatic yes to answering is Fields the guy. It wasn't a no.
Mhm,
So then now you go, okay, if I can't tell if my quarterback, like we talk about it every time, if I can't
mhm.
tell my quarterback is going to be the franchise quarterback of the future, the next thing you look at is draft capital. You go, okay, do we have high enough draft capital to get someone to replace him? Right. So
Mhm.
since this wasn't one of those games, right? Even with the loss last week, if you were to like repoll the Lions, right, people would probably be like, "Oh, we're happy that Fields played well," right? Because it checks that box, and then you don't care about the draft capital. If we would have, you know, because Fields didn't show that, like, oh, I had an amazing game or like a really good game, people then go, okay, well, then this almost as if the game doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Just like, okay, then let's focus
So
on draft capital. But that's not how, obviously sports work. These
for
players are playing
me,
for their money and shit like that. So
so when I asked you the question about, did he check the box for today? What was your answer again? Remind
my
me.
answer was it was not a clear cut check like last week, but he didn't play bad to where I would have it
Is it
unchecked.
like a faded check? Like you
I
could
was like, like you do a
barely
check,
see
you
it?
can have it's like a cross through almost. It's not the full check where you're like, oh, that's great. It's almost
Okay.
like it's basically so if we're going yes and no and then incomplete, I put incomplete. Right.
Okay.
So for
I'm
my grading
going
system, we need 5 yeses, 2 incompletes at least, right?
okay.
No nos.
It's so hard, and I don't want to be too difficult on him. But when you talk about the game plan itself, yeah, it was rocky. It was brutal. Like I said, borderline irresponsible on Luke Getsy, and I think they should have maybe left him in Minnesota. That's how bad it was. However, throwing in those 2 fumbles, that's what makes me say that. And I'm gonna say it, he did not check a box for me today. This one kind of set me back again, where I'm like, you want consistency. I want him to build on these games. And I know the offensive game plan was brutal. And I know Minnesota is a tough defense. I know they're weird. They blitz. Brian Flores, who may be a head coaching candidate next season, it was a masterclass today. I thought he did really well, just kind of, sprinkling in just, a lot of exotic looks on the defensive front. And honestly, it's just for me, I wish I would have seen more. And so I want to be as fair as possible, but I also don't want to be like, not a homer because I think we're all fans at the end of the day, but I just don't think he did it, man. Like you look back at last week where I'm like, yeah, he checked that box. Absolutely. For me, I have too many doubts. He throwing the fumbles was a huge constant red flag for me. But the biggest thing that almost made me tilted to like, okay, yeah, I agree, incomplete almost, or like a soft check, like you said, Ficky, is because he did deliver. I know he had that fumble, but the fact that he came back
Came
after
back and
two
delivered.
fumbles, and it was, I mean, a lot of adversity there where it's like, okay, we've been in this scenario. we're going to do it again. Just last week, the Bears were, in this exact same spot where they blew the game. And this one obviously was still very, very close. They just needed a field goal to win it. And the fact that he came in and delivered, I'm happy for him. But I have to, for me, this is one out of, so he's 1 for 2 right now. And I
for
told
me,
you.
Yeah, well, here's my
games.
thing. Yeah, here's my thing though, right? Imagine turn those screens all into run plays, like handing the ball off to the running back. You would then go, okay, you didn't have enough opportunities for me to be like, you check the box. If we decided we gave the ball to the running back 80% of the time and won the game, and Fields only had 10 passes to show something, what are you going to grade? Right? You can't say, oh, we won because of you, Fields, but you're not going to be like, oh, we lost because of you didn't do anything. So the fumbles, yes, the fumbles are the only thing where I'm like, that is the negative plays that you did on this game. But when 18, I know it's getting annoying, but when you have 18 attempts, half of your passes are on the line of scrimmage because that is the play that's designed. It is a screen. There's no second option on those. You throw it straight there. Mm-hmm. How can I possibly feel good in grading you either way? That's why I'm almost like in the middle, because I'm like, this game there's not enough data for me to look at it and go, wow. Like if you want to look at like good big plays, he had some good big third down plays where he read the blitz and delivered on some passes, right? He also had that dime at the end, but then he had his bad 2 fumbles, right? So if you probably took all his good big plays, which he wasn't expected to, like plays where we were not expected to get the first down and we got it, right? And you mark those against the 2 fumbles. I bet he had more plays over expectation than he had negative plays, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then all the rest of them were screens. So you take all that and you go,
I agree.
What am I? And again, your point makes sense. I'm not arguing your stance. The point is like, that's how this game was, to where I could see either side or someone just being like, I'm not even fucking touching this game, because it was such a poorly game planned offense that you didn't allow Fields to be in position to show that, to either pass or fail. You did not put Fields in position to get enough opportunities to pass or fail. That's how I feel.
Yeah. No, and I think both sides, I think both our point of views are very valid. For me, it comes down to, just going through my notes, because I think if you take out both of those fumbles, for me, absolutely, I think he checks the box, just because what he was working with as far as the game plan, as far as the overcoming the inability of the coaching staff to get a game plan going. I mean, you look at body language on some of those screens where it was just like, I think Mooney was like, I think at one point kind of shrugged a little bit, like, what else are you supposed to do here? So for me, I wish Fields had the ability to maybe audible out of some of these too. I don't know what that looks like in year 3. I don't know if he's given the green light, if there is anything. But at the end of the day, those 2 fumbles are what kind of set me back. So, but I think both. I think you could be in both camps, man. I really do.
That's what I'm saying.
In both camps here.
It's not an argument. There's no right or wrong.
Because you're like, I want like a definitive answer. We talked about that, a definitive answer. We can't go into the offseason and be like, oh shit, here we are again. Same as last year. It was like, do we give him another year? Do we build around him? And I know we have plenty of time to talk about that.
That's the problem with this game, is that you did not put your quarterback in position to either show that he is or show that he isn't. I'm sorry. No, actually, you know what? No quarterback in the NFL should throw 18 screens in the game. That should be illegal. There is no game ever. Like, I think this has to be historic, right? I don't think I've ever seen, and I know I'm going on a rant about this. It's just so mind-boggling to see something done over and over and over and over and over and over. We're literally not just Bears fans, national media, big names are like, wow, that's weird to see 3 screens in a row. Yeah. We've talked about this. We've talked about this for weeks.
We have. And one of the big talking points, one of the things that we spoke on was, I thought it was both of us, but for Fields, it's not just enough where he kind of has incomplete games or incomplete boxes, because there's so much writing on this offseason where you have a top pick where you can reset the quarterback clock. So for me, I said it, Fields has to be damn near perfect down the stretch. And he's going to have to overcome. I said he's going to have to overcome and elevate this team due to either the roster, maybe the offensive line getting injured or not playing too well, penalties. The coaching staff is obviously a big one, and he has to be that. He has to kind of, like I said, 6 out of 7 games, 5 out of 7 games where he has to truly perform. Otherwise, you can't. I don't think you could pass on that. As far as resetting quarterback and going with either Caleb Williams, which I'm not a fan of, and we'll get to him and we'll break that all down later on in the season. But it's a lot. It's a lot. It's disappointing because Monday night we talked about how Fields typically plays really well on prime time, and this is one of those rare.
Funny stat. Bears are 3-1 in prime time this year.
That's so weird.
3 out of 4 of their wins are all prime time.
You look at last year too with the Pats game. That was on Monday night.
No, they had Washington was they almost won that one. That was prime time as well. Mm-hmm. There's been a couple where that's what I said. Fields normally plays well in prime time. And again, he didn't play bad. He just didn't play great.
I mean, look at Josh Dobbs, which you can't. Josh Dobbs is 28 years old. His story is pretty damn cool. One of the best in the NFL so far. He had a couple tips that didn't go his way, obviously, but either way, it was a tough fucking game for him. But he played through it too. Hats off to him as far as adversity, bringing his team down. That drive with, capped off to T.J. Hawkinson with that touchdown. Thought it was pretty good. But I want to switch here because we're talking a lot about the offense. The defense, man. Montez Sweat, how good is that trade looking right now? He had 1.5 sacks. I thought he had 2, but I guess they gave him a half sack with him and Brisker on that one where he slapped. Kind of hit him on the ass and was like, hey, why are you taking my sack, man? That was a crazy rep by Sweat, too. And I'm curious to see kind of what his snap count was this game because huge talking point last week was he had such a low percentage of snaps. And so Ryan Poles before the game was on ESPN 1000, and he was like, hey, I guess he talked with Flus about, hey, let's get our best players on the field. And that was kind of alluding to Montez Sweat not being there a lot last week, or at least not showing up and being on the field on big moments against the Lions. So 1.5 sacks. I thought he played a tremendous game. Terrell Smith had 8 total tackles. Tremaine Edmonds had 7. TJ Edwards had 6. Edmonds and Edwards both had a tackle for a loss. Montez Sweat had 1 tackle for a loss, 1.5 sacks. Like I said, 3 total sacks. Jalen Johnson, what a game by him. Still would have loved to see him convert that second interception he almost had where it could have been looked like a pick 6. But overall, man, how do you feel about this defense?
You got a lot of good people on there.
Turn around.
JJ has looked good all year. I know he has some drop picks, but overall, that is still a great corner. He deserves the money. Let's pay him. Montez Sweat, great trade.
Good or great corner.
Man, he probably lost $10 million because he dropped those 2 pick 6s. but there's still
I think he's a great
left.
corner.
If he keeps, I agree. I'm just saying he lost some money.
Yeah.
If he gets those pick 6s.
Yeah. No, you're right, man.
I've always thought
$5 to $10 million on that.
Yeah.
But it's for me, I was in the camp where but I just thought he was good. I'm starting to think the way he was playing some of these balls where it was like his first interception where he kind of faked inside, kind of gave Dobbs that looked like he was kind of going underneath. Yep, and then popped back out to get – first of all, the speed. That I didn't think Jalen – I know he's fast, but I didn't think he was that quick. I just thought it was impressive ball instincts. And that second one where it was like he was all over Hawkins and he read that from the jump. And I'm like, it hits him in his hands. And I guess this is why he doesn't play wide receiver. I get it. But it's like, man, he could have 2 pick 6s in back-to-back games. And that would have been 3 on the year.
No, I'm telling you,
we're talking 20. Yeah, we're talking like the highest paid corner. If he takes those 2 to the house, the Detroit game and then today against the Vikings.
Yeah, but he caused another one too, though. He had 3 pass breakups today, and one of them led to the T.J. Edwards interception. That was him.
Okay, that was him.
He hit the ball, and that thing popped up in the air, and T.J. Edwards got it. And J.J. had some great tackles against the run and some secure tackles overall.
Yeah.
So JJ he deserves to get paid. I would be very disappointed if he's not on this team moving forward. But yeah, so you got JJ, the linebacker. Well, TJ Edwards, I still think is the MVP of this team. He's been balling. Tremaine Edmonds has looked good of late, right? Because he had a slower start, I feel like. Montez Sweat, obviously, I think that's a great signing. Brisker's been on and off, but I'd still think a solid safety. Kyler Gordon's looked good. I think so. He had like some penalties today. One of them was kind of like dumb, but like he's been a highly graded
I had
slot
such
corner.
a good tweet. I had such a good tweet for that one too. Are you talking about Kyler Gordon where he got where they was on the side near the sideline and was it was no
the one on number 4, the one on number 4 that caught over him and he was right there. So it was just a beautiful ball. But I mean, overall though, and even like Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson for being rookies have played like I think above average for rookie play. So
Terrell Smith is a big corner too. I thought he was fantastic, man.
He was
today. Thought he was so what a Ryan Poles, man. That's why I'm saying with Ryan Poles, man, I know you can knock him for Chase Claypool, you can knock him for a couple moves. For me, I think overall he is just proving that this draft class, I think is just stacking game after game.
But here's another thing with Poles is old GMs is like you make a mistake, you like kind of just like don't accept it and then you like stick with it. Like he saw the mistake with Chase and said, all right, you're out. Like, I'm okay, whatever, take your L and move on. Right. It's not like, oh, we're going to keep him here, try to figure it out, extension, things like that. So like, I'm okay with that. Like, again, if you expect these GMs to be batting 1,000, that's on you. That's your problem. That's not an expectation. So I like to see when it is your loss, you get rid of it and get ready for, trying to find something else. But the depth he's built around this defense and some of the rookies now, like, I mean, Javon Dexter, it's been like 3 weeks in a row now where he's like making plays. That's great to see already in your first year. So yes, the bright spot is I think Poles is the dude. I'm excited about that. And I think the defense as a whole has really been stepping up. And I obviously think the play calling on defense has also been, pretty good since Flus has been there. The only thing is like there's still a lot of, I'd say, penalties, which is bothersome, especially when, the S and hits is for smart. And I think we had like 8+. Like at one point, I remember the graphic was we had 4 penalties for 45 yards and the Vikings were yet to have 1. So, but let's see this speech here by Flus.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up, well, it's not even his speech. Apparently, so Adam Johns, he went ahead and tweeted out, interesting, important visual for the Bears locker room. I guess I can just bring it up. He said, from ESPN's broadcast, Matt Eberflus addressed the team with Ryan Poles at his side and with team president Kevin Warren right there in front. Warren was nodding his head as Eberflus spoke. So I was going to go ahead and see if we can. So again, I just thought that's interesting as far as, we're talking about him potentially being fired at the end of the season, but you have both the GM right there, Ryan Poles, and then Kevin Warren, who I guess they both made the trip to Minnesota.
Kevin, remember Kevin's, he definitely.
He probably is showing it off a little bit. He's like, hey,
I mean, of course he's going to be there. He's traveled to other games too, but he's definitely going to be there. That's his past employer, and that building is what he built. So no surprise.
But I still think it's an interesting gesture. I mean, they don't have to be down there.
No.
Poles
is going to be down there. Poles has been there before, but seeing Kevin for sure, that's the big piece. And we talked about this previously. What does Kevin Warren think? I don't think Kevin Warren's going to be involved in the decision of like, do we keep Fields or not? Like, that's not his job. But I really believe he's going to be, have some input on the coaching situation and then finding a new one if that's the case. I know it's just one win against another bad team. Like all our wins are against like bad teams. So like I try not to get like again, you want to enjoy this, but I don't want to be like, oh wow, maybe this is a reason to keep Flus. It's like we need a good win. And we haven't had one yet. Now, like I said, if there's a situation where Flus is back and Fields is back, but Getsy is gone, I'm okay with that. That's the only way I'd be happy if Flus is still here is if he continues to call the defensive plays. He can be the head coach, but we got to get someone in here who's a little bit more creative than Luke Getsy. So,
no, I agree. I think it'll be interesting. we had a comment here on YouTube that said JJ's face in regards to that clip we just showed of Matt Eberflus in the locker room where he just Jalen Johnson just not enthused, just sitting there with, I think his arms were down or maybe crossed, but we'll see. I've heard mixed results about the Bears locker room and how they feel. I think getting a win is important, but again, it was a weird sloppy win unless you're on the defense. If you're on the defense right now in the Bears locker room, you're probably feeling fucking great because that's 2 weeks in a row where you should have won because of your defense, not even your offense.
Yeah,
like if you would
but the offense showed up last week, and it was the defense that messed up at the very end. But it was kind of a both bags kind of sucked.
But you get but you got to score more. I wonder what the number is. I think it's single digits. I don't think they've scored more than 10 points off those turnovers they've received.
No, I think it's single. I think it's single.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 points because they got two
Wait,
field
no.
goals.
I think out of 9 turnovers, they have 17 points.
Good Lord. Oh my God.
That's like basketball
numbers. Incredible. Oh man. Well, I brought up the graph here for NFL Tankathon. We got to bring it up every podcast, every post game, just because it's what we do, man. We got something to look forward to, of course. Not just because the Bears pick, but of course Carolina. They're 1-10. They hold the number 1 pick. Arizona's at 2-10, followed by New England that's 2-9, and then you have the Bears still number 4. A lot of teams though at 4-8, 4-7. Strength of schedule will play a big factor, and of course head-to-head stuff as far as wins go. So it's going to get muddy, man, because the Bears could easily drop to, look how many 4-7 teams there are. There's all the way to the 10th spot, which is Tennessee Titans, who are 4-7 as well. So the Bears, who are at 4-8, now they have
we have the third easiest schedule ending as well. So we could easily drop down.
I swear to God,
move up.
Yeah, I don't want to talk. I won't talk about our pick because again, I don't want to get there. I feel like it's a kind of doom and gloom when you have people talk about the Bears and do we want them to tank, do we want them to win. I think it's important to string some wins together. This was fun.
Team needs to learn how to win.
It is.
I'm not worried about
this. This was a weird one. I mean,
all I care about is that number 1 pick. That's really what I care about. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest.
But I mean, you look at Minnesota though. I mean, today was a huge loss. As far as getting out,
they're in the hunt.
They're in the hunt.
Still have a chance.
6-6 now.
Yeah, 6-6, 500.
Yeah, but you win this one, you're looking a lot better because they're going into their own bye where they get Justin Jefferson back after the bye. Reportedly, which I was kind of shocked he didn't get back in action today, but I understand why they want to kind of hold him out. If you're the Vikings, you think you could win this game without him, and they were pretty damn close. If Josh Dobbs would have had just a little bit better of a game, I think it would have been in the bag for them. So, but at the end of the day, the Bears are still sitting pretty at number 1 spot. If you had to grade this game, Ficky, just overall defense, special teams, offense, we'll kind of close with this. If you guys want to go ahead and give your grades, we'll throw some up on the screen. What is your grade for this performance from the Bears? Include everything, or we can just go down and we can do coaching staff. We can go special teams and everything like that.
Yeah, I'll do the whole thing. So special teams, you had 1 missed field goal. Other than that, you did everything right. So I'd give you a B+ just because of missed field goal. But
I was leaning A-. So.
Yeah, same thing. Whatever. You're in the. You did well. Yeah. You did good. Really, special teams is like good or it's like pass or fail in essence. That's how I view special teams, right? Because if you fail, you've done things that are like really bad, and if you pass, you've done what you needed to. So B+, that's fine. Defense, you held a team to 10 points in today's modern NFL, so you obviously get an A. You had 4 turnovers as well, A+. Like, sure, you gave up a drive at the very end, but this is the NFL. Like that's going to happen, right? You held them to 3 points for 4 quarters. So you're getting
4 turnovers, 242 yards, 15 first downs. So that's pretty good. You said A+?
Yeah. I give him an A+.
I'm going A.
Yeah. And then I would
give me that pick six.
Yeah. And then I would go on offense. You get like a D+. Bro, you scored 4 field goals. Like you're not sorry. It was not good. So, but yeah. Oh, by the way,
You said B
Well,
plus
first off,
for the offense?
no, D plus. D.
Oh, okay.
Like as
I
in
thought
dog shit. D as in dog shit. Yeah, no, it's not good. No, not B
I was
plus.
a little
Absolutely not.
shocked for a moment. I was like,
Yeah. Oh,
damn.
sorry. And then overall, I give the team like a C just because of that. Like it's like
Okay.
defense did really well, offense did really bad. You averaged out. That's what
Yeah,
it
I
is.
think
You
D
got to
plus
win.
is very
So
accurate. Dog shit. That kind
yeah,
of that's a good way to wrap this one up.
yeah.
C.
Oh wait, yeah. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Just
you're
C
good. You're good.
minus. I'll go
C minus.
C
Yeah.
minus overall for the. I'll go C for the team. I think I agree with almost everything you just said there. So we do have a super chat
Oh,
from
that's
our
cool.
guy
Read it
Tito.
up.
Yep. It says, I say bring in Marvin Harrison Jr. And Bowers. Just load up on the offense and give Fields all the weapons. Man, I'm
Brock
not
Bowers,
even.
that'd be crazy.
I can't
But
even
yeah,
hate that, man. Isn't that
yeah,
tight end?
yeah. From Georgia, he's like
Shit.
crazy.
Him and Komet.
Thank you for the super chat though, Tito. We appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. $5.
Oh,
Man.
this is funny.
Tito, you're always. Oh, what
Yeah,
is
we
it?
appreciate you, Tito. Ethan said screen with the capital C. That's what he grades it. So that's kind of funny.
I like that.
Yeah, overall. Offensive coaching a D from Michael Quinn.
Okay.
Steven said special teams B. H-Rob gave the offense a C minus. Steven gave the A plus for the defense. H-Rob, defense A plus. Michael Quinn, offense D plus. Steven, offense D. Andrew Trevino, D plus. Brad
Okay.
Russell, more like an F, but graded on a curve, so they pass. And then Michael Quinn, C. They won on the road. Yes, I mean, wins are hard to come by. So, and then Jerry said offense F. Oh, and by the way, for anyone that's new in the chat, I know we forgot to do this, but like new to the show, watching us for the first time, thank you. We really appreciate that. Go ahead and give us a hashtag new face gang in the chat, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out here. And also, if you've been here for a minute, right, and you've been subscribed to the channel, also thank you. You've been watching us for a minute. Go ahead and drop a hashtag OG in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out as well. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Again, and shout out to you. I know we kind of went through that super chat really fast, but seriously, you're always supporting the pod. That's a good way to kind of segue before we get out of here. If you're here, you've enjoyed this episode, the Bears win. Just go ahead and hit the like button. It really is a great way to support the podcast on YouTube. Our Apple, Spotify listeners, you guys are still over there. OG's over there. We appreciate it. Go ahead and rate the pod if you haven't already. And we just appreciate the support. So again, if you're new, subscribe. We'd love to have you. I think we're on a road to 3,000 subs. It's going pretty fast. So we appreciate the support. The Bears win. I mean, I'm happy. It is late, but I'm excited.
It is. It is.
This is gonna be a long bye, though. I feel like there's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss.
I think my heart needs it, bro. Like I'm gonna be real. Like I can't. This bye week might be more for me than the team. You know what I mean? Like I need to get
the
me
fans
ready.
are.
Yeah, like I need it. Oh, we do have some new faces in here, so let me read these real quick. Addison Peters says new face gang. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Addison. Appreciate that. We got Rajan, new face gang. Appreciate that, Rajan. And then we got some OGs in here as well. Obviously, our boy Tito. Appreciate you, Tito. Mm-hmm. Billiam, we definitely see here all the time. Appreciate you, OG. Build the Santos statue. I agree. Like he missed a kick, but like kickers miss kicks. Cairo's been god tier since he's been on this team. So
I said it though. As soon as he missed that kick, I said this is gonna be a weird ass game. And I was kind of right.
So I'm fucking blame. You know what? I blame you not only for that, but also for your prediction earlier on because I
predicted what 12-9.
You predicted like a heartbreaking
34-31.
Yeah, you said it, but honestly, that way would have been much worse because there's a lot of points. But like, I was literally thinking the whole time in that final drive, I'm like, "Fuck Dave, bro." Like,
but if they would have lost against the Vikings in this fashion, I still think it would have been. It wouldn't have been. It would have been
better. It would have been better because that means Fields look good. You scored a lot of points, so
yeah.
And then we got Jerry Andres in here with new face gang, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of new faces, so I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, Bears win. It's always fun. You know, no matter what, we got to take them what we get. I don't know why I'm. We got 4 of them this year. It's not like
3 last year. That's 7, bro. Like, yeah, we can't. Yeah, that's why it's so hard because I'm like, oh man, I'm being negative over here, and I need to be like enjoying this because they barely happened. So,
yeah,
barely fucking happened. But when they do, you can catch us here talking about it. That's for sure. And when they lose, which they also do a lot, you can also catch us here talking about that as well. So we'll be here for every game, every pregame, every postgame, moving on. And then when we get to the offseason, the draft, all that, we will be here, your one-stop shop for all.
We're gonna have some news. Fun content as far as the draft comes. So I know we don't want to talk about it, blah blah. But man, we're gonna have some good prospects on. A lot of good analysts. The draft season is going to be a lot of fun. And who knows? Fields may stick around. I think that would make it even more. Just as far as because you're going to probably load up on the offensive side of the ball since you went defense the last couple of years. So if you stick with the quarterback and Justin Fields is, he deserves it, he earns the right, or they trust him and want to keep him around for another year or two, the offense is, I think it's going to be interesting as far as what they do in the draft. So.
All right, Dave, let's end on this one, though. Actually, here we go. This might be a hot take. Might be a hot take. It might be a hot take. I think no matter what happens moving forward, I think Fields will be the quarterback starting next year. That's my hot take. I think Poles believes in him probably more than Luke Getsy does. And I think he thinks the fastest way to get to a contending championship team is to build pieces around him instead of having to take another risk, another lottery ticket, and having to restart the clock. That's my opinion.
It is fun, and there is a lot of flexibility getting in a rookie quarterback. But again, it is a lottery ticket because I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I'm not sold on Drake May, really anybody from that class. And you never know. I mean, look at last year. Bryce Young, number 1 overall. Then there's CJ Stroud, which, I mean, he's balling out, but you just don't know. Even if you get your guy that you think is number 1, Bryce Young, you still could be looking back at that draft right now with CJ Stroud. Look at Mahomes, that draft class. It sucks. But at the same time, you look at Daniel Jones, and I'm not saying Justin Fields is Daniel Jones, territory, but it's like,
right.
You give a guy money or you extend him, you don't know. I don't know. So
yeah, I don't. But also, Poles is the type of guy where he's very strict on his money, so I don't think he'd give dumb money. But yes, I understand the other side of the point. That's why it's a hot take. I just feel like Fields is going. It makes more sense. The easiest path for us
build through the trenches.
Yes,
like you said, Ficky, build through the trenches. Get some staples, some blue chip talent. Which no better way to do it with trading again for the second year in a row. Look at what the haul they got and the draft class they have this year. You throw in another one, you get another player like DJ Moore. Maybe not on off. Maybe you don't get an offensive. You don't get a receiver probably, but say you get a defensive tackle or a defensive end or whatever it might be, or you just load up on capital and you bring in a bunch of young talent. Man, then you got the depth kind of squared away. You got Justin Fields in his 4th year where he's still going to be, I think it's $5 million on the cap for him next year if you keep him. And then you have to decide on his 5th year option. So it's interesting. But I think one guy, talk about extensions, Cario Santos, he's a free agent next year, restricted free agent, but they need to get a deal done.
Oh, no, they'll sign him. No,
kickers aren't, I guess. I mean, it's not as like, what? I don't think he's going to have a market. He'll have a market, but I think the Bears will
not as lucrative.
I don't think he wants to go to it.
No, I think he'll be locked in. I'm not worried about it. If we were strapped with money, that's different, right? Because then you're going to go, okay, we'll go pick up someone on the side. We'll pay him. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm really not.
Well, hey, big play, Justin Fields, game-winning drive. We finally got one. I think we got one, man. It was, and then of course it went to DJ Moore. It makes that trade that much better. The fact that he went over 100 yards once again this year. A lot of positives. We get to enjoy the bye week. So, again, if you've tuned in today with the Bears winning, we appreciate hopping in, talking Bears late on a Monday or early on a Tuesday, whenever you're listening to this. But enjoy the bye week. The Bears can't hurt you next week.
Sure can.
You got to win. So let's just celebrate it. Again, the support has been amazing. And we'll be back. Well, man, I guess we'll try to get a guest on here. Probably have one more episode, the rest of the week, and then maybe take a little bit of a break. Either way, we'll have content out for you. Ficky, anything else, man, before we go?
Nah, I get it's almost 1 a.m. for me over here on the East Coast, so I'm gonna sleep like a baby, bro. It's just nice to wake up, even though the game was not exciting in that type of way, just because the lack of points scored. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than laying your head and being able to just sleep peacefully, wake up the next day, and not have to worry about your team talk about how bad they are the following week.
Yeah.
Good over here. I know all the sports fans know that feeling. So.
Absolutely. It's better at the end of the day. This could be, again, Fields, the Bears, they won. It's better to win ugly than just lose ugly. We saw it last week. So winning kind of helps, preserve, keep everyone afloat. And like I said, it's fun. The sport's been unreal. You can check out Ficky, follow him on all socials. It's Ficky Baby. Again, this show is presented by Sports Mockery. Everything sports related you can get over there. And you can follow the pod on Twitter, BFR_pod, our TikTok as well, which is going well. Ficky's kind of been taking care of that. What is that? Is that BFR_pod as well?
Yeah, BFR_pod. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you just type in the BFR pod, you'll be able to find us for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate it. We'll be back later this week with another episode. We'll have we'll try to get a fun guest on, talk about the Bears and what the bye week means. But again, Bears win. You guys enjoy this one. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.